It is Sunday morning, December the 7th. Rise and shine. I'm WESH 2 First Warning Meteorologist Eric Burris. This is Coffee Talk. We get together 7 days a week, chat about what's doing in the world of weather. And right off the top, we are tracking impact weather today. Not necessarily for this morning, but later today, widespread rain and even the threat of strong to storms, something we will certainly need to watch for. And we're going to get into all of the detail in there on Coffee Talk here. So I do want to make sure that you're aware of it. But first, let's just kind of get a lay of the land, see what's doing this morning. It is a cloudy sky over top of us. This morning, downtown Orlando was great for the Lake Eola 5K. Let me just do that, pop that up. All right, let's get our Tower Cam network launched here. And you'll notice this morning that the skies are gray. Bottom left corner, that's a traffic accident that our news crews are covering. They've got the Tower Cam zoomed in. But you can see the rest. Daytona Beach, 63 degrees. It's gray over Ocala. Port Canaveral sitting at 71. So you kind of get the idea, right? We're watching the clouds. We'll have some showers definitely in the forecast, on again and off. And the reality is we already do have some showers in there. So let's dial up our first warning live radar and just kind of get an idea of where we're at, okay? And in the metro, we are good, which is great news. Was fantastic for that race, but we head to our northern spots and already we're tracking some of these passing showers, right? Nothing strong, but Ocala, Citra, Anthony, Reddick, definitely watching some rains around. Look over toward Flagler County, same kind of idea here, Palm Coast, say Marineland, that kind of thing. We're watching the clouds, we're watching the showers. Now, all of this is associated with a front, okay? Kind of a dead front getting pushed through. So this afternoon, tonight, tomorrow, we'll watch the rains move through, and then eventually we'll be able to pull all of that energy away and usher in some cooler and drier air. So how does this time out? Let's fire up Futurecast and get an idea, okay? We'll start off around midday today, and there's nothing crazy. We're doing just fine. Keep in mind, though, at any point in time, there will be some showers around, okay? A 20% coverage of rain through the entirety of the day today is what I'm going with, okay? After that, 1, 2 o'clock, starting to see some of the heavier stuff getting into Marion County, Citra, Anthony, Reddick, over to Putnam County, over to Flagler County, and then 3, 4 o'clock is when we really start to see this moving in, okay? Right, 3, 4 o'clock getting into the villages, getting into DeLand, or at least starting to get into DeLand, knocking on the doorstep of Wildwood, Claremont, Mineola. There's 6 o'clock. Downpours working into Sanford, working into Leesburg, getting closer and closer to downtown Orlando, right? Again, the potential is there to see some of these go a little strong, perhaps even severe. 7, 8 o'clock over to New Smyrna Beach. Now we're knocking on the doorstep of the Kennedy Space Center. We're knocking on the doorstep of St. Cloud, Kissimmee, the tourist district, even just there before. And then overnight, this is 1 a.m., still with showers. Notice all the way through to tomorrow morning, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, there will be some showers in the forecast, right? So that's kind of the overall idea. When we break down those threats, the biggest threat is going to be heavy rainfall. Nearly all of us are going to get into that heavy rainfall. But beyond that, there is a low end concern of some damaging gusty winds and even an isolated tornado, with hail really being almost a non-event, not a completely non-event, but almost a non-event. So we are under a level 1 out of 5 risk for isolated strong to severe storms. Could this change? Certainly. The Storm Prediction Center could update this, and so this is definitely something that we're going to be watching. All right, so that's kind of where we're at for today. You got the timing, you got the impacts. What about the temperatures? Because this is where things are actually very interesting. Depending on where you live, you'll either get into the lower 70s only, or you'll get into the lower 80s, right? Look at that, 72 in Palm Coast, 72 in Ocala, 76 for us, the Villages and DeLand. 81 degrees our high temperature in Orlando, 82 in St. Cloud, 84 degrees in Palm Bay. Very, very different depending on where you are. Because when we look at the overall rain coverage for the day, this is where the northern areas versus the southern areas have such a different outlook, right? I mean, right? Like medium chance of rain in our southern spots, Brevard County and the like. But the Metro North, there's rain. There's absolutely rain in that forecast. And so that's where we have to kind of work through the day. So in making plans for today, right? In making plans for our Sunday, I would simply say I'm not going to go canceling my plans for the day. Still have to wear those kids out. But I will say the afternoon time frame, you'll notice the impact weather. The afternoon time frame is when we're going to have to go do the things, okay? Inside. Okay? That's where we're at. Questions, comments, concerns about this? Taylor says, I don't mind it today. The rain yesterday wasn't fun. Yeah, I get it. I mean, the rain on a weekend is never idealistic, never what we want, and yet here we are. So we'll work through it. We'll navigate it. It'll be just fine. Kate Cat on YouTube says, I love the cloudy mornings for 80 plus degree days, so I don't have to close my window first thing in the morning. Yeah. Yeah. Anna says, I assume you're not going to Alaska. I assume you're going to Animal Kingdom. So yeah. Um, Christmas Pierce on YouTube, because we're picking YouTube today, says you're missing a row on your storm impacts graphic. Snow, very, very low. I mean, I could do that and then I just write none. We could, but yeah. Victoria says today's my son's 14th birthday, hoping the rain dodges us at 3:30. Where are you? Where are you? Let's see here. Nautilus, the potential for damaging winds isn't ideal considering my home is surrounded by trees, especially oaks. Well, just understand though, just because we're highlighting threats doesn't mean it's going to happen to you. It could happen to some other areas where, the Central Florida area is a pretty big coverage area. I would also add that this is almost every day during the summertime. We're just highlighting it because it's a bit of an non-normal thing this time of year. We're in the dry season, and clearly this is not a dry season forecast. So that's where we're at. Deanna says, it's nice out. Husband is out back bass fishing. See, that sounds pretty nice. Amy says, I just finished my lights. Unplug, drill, activated. There you go. There you go. Oh, very fun, Tanya. At least the fog didn't delay it. Let's see. What is Krampus? I heard you talk. What is Krampus?
Apparently some kind of devil, like horned character in the Central Europe that comes and takes the bad kids away in a sack.
That takes the bad kids away?
Yeah, it's some kind of Christmas tradition. Live where it was. I had Googled it.
So,
It looks like the devil stealing the bad children.
so if the threat of coal doesn't work for my kids, I just teach them about Krampus.
Google image it. It's crazy.
Google image it. I only say that because Audra says the Krampus Festival tonight in the Milk District seems like we will be damp. Very like lackadaisical comment about a terrifying event.
I'm intrigued by that. Ask them what vendors are typically there.
So Audra, inquiring minds want to know what kind of vendors are at this Krampus festival, and is she completely off? Is Lindsay completely off on what Krampus is? You Googled it. I mean, just because it's on the internet doesn't mean it's real. I mean, right? Oh, Debbie says this is the kind of day I'll be baking English muffin bread and cookies. My God, that sounds good. That sounds so good. Can we do some sourdough too while we're at it? And now Taylor's making fun of me because I don't know about Krampus. Awesome. Carrie says it seems like it rains on Saturdays or Sundays in Florida a lot. Is that a meteorologist's common phenomenon? I don't know. Yeah. I just forecast. It's a thing that scares kids, Nautilus on YouTube says. Amy says, don't do it, Eric. Ha, that's funny. Christmas Pierce says, Krampus is the evil version of Santa. Huh. Krampus is scary, Mario says. Krampus night is technically December 5th, my birthday, says Audra. And then Michael's like, I'm singing at candlelight at Epcot. They go rain, but not for thunder. So it's like, we're talking about Krampus, and Michael's like, but I'm singing the Christmas music. There's a movie, Krampus. It's a Christmas horror movie. Huh. Sonia Blade on YouTube says Krampus is the naughty side of Santa. Santa gives the coal to the bad children, and Krampus takes them away in cages. Okay, maybe I'm not going to. Yeah, no, I don't think so. Good gravy. Rita says Krampus is a very old German legend. Kind of similar in ways to the boogeyman or something, Nautilus says. Interesting. Don't know that I'm going to do this. Yeah. Ooh, that. So Nancy says tomato soup and grilled cheese kind of day. Nancy, you just may have changed the entire trajectory of my Sunday. A little Pebbles tomato bisque. Yeah, Lindsay, by the way, if you're looking for a good recipe for tomato bisque, I got it. Oh, do not touch this recipe. You do it just as is. Don't. She's like, I just normally. No. No, you don't. Not anymore. No, no. I am straight. We are straight. If I had more battery, I use my battery up. I I need to get the man's phone number and be like, buddy, this is your tomato soup recipe. Taylor says, did you just say Christmas Pierce? That's what it is on YouTube. That's what he's labeled at on YouTube. So I'm just trying to show due diligence. Audra says it's a ton of local vendors. Evil Santa. Evil Santa. So like I have so many questions. Do you play Christmas music at this event? Is it like it's beginning to look a lot like cages? And it like what do you do there? My kids know all about Krampus too, says Shauna Amans on YouTube. Huh. Interesting. It's not a cage. Jeez, Shauna says it's not a cage, it's his backpack. So he comes. This sounds awful. And I will never teach this to my kids until they're a little older. My children would be unwell. Oh man. Oh man. Bruce says sounds like dinner. Hubby loves tomato soup, Tanya says. Yeah, I like it. You guys, this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. Jurassic Crystal, do you have the tomato bisque recipe posted anywhere? I'll find it. I'll find it and post it for you somewhere. Tammy, I dislike the rain because people can't drive in dry, sunny conditions. That is correct. That is correct. They have Krampus songs, warnings kids that he's coming. They have. This sounds terrifying. Like, I can't imagine my 7-year-old with this idea. Yeah, this is. Sonia says my 7-year-old knows about it and she loves the idea. Wow. As much as sometimes when he's misbehaving, I'm like, I wish that I had more than coal to offer you. But this would go a little too far. Debbie says we have the tomato bisque recipe in our coffee talk recipes section. There's a Facebook group. They're unhinged. Tim says one slice of Kraft plastic cheese on my sandwich, please. I'll take 2 slices of plastic on mine. Also, my struggle is grilled cheese to me has to be Kraft plastic cheese. I can't do good cheddar or any other Gruyere. I can't do it. It's got to be plastic cheese. Yeah. What's wrong with being unhinged, Yukon? I'm not going to judge. I'm not going to judge. Taylor, everybody has a price, right? Oh man. All right. So questions, comments, concerns about it. Tanya. Question. Okay, we're gonna pivot back. Questions, comments, concerns about the weather. Questions, comments, concerns about the weather. Also, it's Share Your Christmas week, y'all. I get to hang out with you on Friday. That's gonna be fun. Carol says plastic cheddar or plastic cheese is the worst. Cheddar for me. I like just for grilled cheese. It's because that's the way I was raised. I know. Debbie, is there weather? There is weather. Yes, there is weather. There is weather right there. Showers and thunder showers in there. In the EU, there are kids in the Krampus parade. That's wild to me. I mean, I guess it's about how you present it, but I don't want my children thinking they're going to be taken from my house, no matter how bad they are. Right? Like that's the one they already can barely go to the bathroom without supervision. All right. So here's the forecast for today. Let's look at the 7 day. We haven't done the 7 day yet because after all of this rainfall, we transition around and we end up with cooler temperatures. Today, 70% coverage of rain, high of about 81 degrees. For tomorrow, a few morning showers, then clearing and clearing and clearing. And then we get into look at those cooler temperatures. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, highs in the upper 60s, lower 70s, morning lows in the 50s and even the 40s. So let's just look at Tuesday afternoon. Let's just dive into a couple of the changes here, okay? Let's start off with Tuesday. Here's Tuesday afternoon. High temperatures, all right? 69 in Orlando, 68 in Leesburg, 66 in Ocala. Let's go to Wednesday morning. This is going to be I don't want to say this is a shock to the system, but this is going to be some fresh air, my friends. 54 to wake up in Orlando. Notice north of town, 48 in the Villages, 48 in Ocala, 54 degrees in Daytona Beach. And then Wednesday afternoon, we'll warm up just a little bit. Upper 60s in our northern spots, lower 70s in our metro area. And then Thursday morning, another nice and cool start. 53 in Orlando, 50 degrees in Leesburg, 46 in Ocala, and about 50 degrees in DeLand. So, yeah, Taylor says system reset. Exactly. You know what's up. All right. So, again, the 7 day forecast is showing that drop in temperatures for us into the 50s Wednesday morning, Thursday morning, Friday morning, and even into Saturday morning. Coastal friends, how are you doing? You ready for your 7 day forecast? Looking pretty good to me. Terry's asking what's plastic cheese. It's plastic cheese. We were making fun of American cheese, but I digress. All right, so there you go. Rain today, even a few showers tomorrow, and then there's that drop in temperatures Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday before. Now, the thing about this weekend, and we'll get there, I mean, we're still in a weekend, but looking ahead, model data is kind of going back and forth on this idea Friday and Saturday that there could be another front. But models are also doing something else. Do you guys want to see something funny? You guys want to see something funny? You want to see something funny? All right, so it's December 7th. Just for fun, let's look at the American GFS model. I'm doing this on purpose, and if you've seen it yet, you know where I'm going. I love laughing at hypers, and I've already seen two hypers on the interweb. I saw it and I was like, no. And then I saw another person hyping. GFS, this is the tropical GFS model. Do. What you got down there in the Caribbean, GFS? Is that a hurricane? All right. Now, do I think this is going to happen? No. But I saw people posting it. So I'm like, okay. So the GFS has another hurricane. It's not going to happen. I mean, could we get, an area of low pressure or something forming? Sure. But the GFS is doing the GFS. Nautilus, I believe so. The BSR seems to have a pretty strong signal about an area of low pressure, either front or some sort of Gulf disturbance. Do I think that there could be a Gulf disturbance? Sure. Do I think we're going to get a hurricane? No. What is that? A 973 millibar low? Yeah. But what's interesting is that it's doing its thing. Hype it just once. Can't do it, Tanya. Wouldn't be prudent. Not at this juncture. 1,000 points of light. So anyway, there it is. Someone needs to tell not to hype on his page. He's lost followers, at least me. Hey, man. Yukon, listen. People are going to do what people are going to do. You can I give you some advice? Telling a meteorologist not to hype. If they're hyping, that's just what they want to do. They're probably not going to listen to you. You know what I mean? So it would be a waste of breath, is I guess all I'm saying. Nicole says the GFS is Krampus. Yeah, right. Right. Anyway, so I just thought that was funny. Do I think a hurricane's going to come up? No. But, we had talked about this. The BSR did have a pretty strong signal for a Gulf storm. That's the 19th. That's the 20th. That's the 21st. So we do know. Thank you, Chris Pierce, for getting the 1,000 points of light reference. Thank you. I'm sure you're not the only one, but anyway. Just something I wanted to point out. You know, it is what it is. UConn, yeah, it's just sad. Used to respect people. Listen. That's why I always say it's one thing to earn your trust, it's another to keep it. You know what I mean? Like seriously. So, that's UConn. That's exactly it. Tanya, you're out of control. You're out of control. Just like Eric, don't listen when we ask him. Tim says, just like Eric doesn't listen when we ask him to hype for a minute. Exactly. Exactly. All right. So anyway, I wanted to show that it's circulating on the interwebs. Could there be some sort of a storm system? Sure. It's not going to hurricane, you know. Nautilus. BSR was showing a front around that time. Doesn't mean a hurricane, but possibly just a sign of low pressure. That's correct. I wouldn't be shocked if we don't get some sort of a sloppy piece of energy. But is it going to come up from the Caribbean and be a hurricane? No, I don't think that that's going to be the case. So, yeah. And last I checked, the European did not show that. So, for what it's worth. All right. Questions, comments, concerns? Terry says Eric only hypes the good stuff. Yeah, cold fronts. I will hype the snot out of a good cold front. But that's not going to be the kind of weather that, triggers anxiety. I guess that's kind of it. Um, Tiffany's asking, are we able to look at the weather for the upper states? What's an upper state as opposed to a downer state? What are you looking for? To be honest, if you remember, I've got the graphics for Central Florida. I don't really have a ton of stuff that goes very broad in a forecasting world. So for what it's worth. All right. What about that storm in the A Bear? Get out of here, Tim. Go have some barbecue. Oh man, Tanya says I'm out of control, but I haven't been in detention for a while. Teachers, yeah, you're out of control. Never change, Tanya. Never, ever, ever change, please. I mean, you can. I'm not your boss, but just don't. RDub55 on YouTube. Oy vey's mir. Joanne says, we need a really good cold front. Listen, we'll get there. We'll get there. This is not going to be a frigid cold front. I always like to point out things that are at least impactful. So this temperature roller coaster will be a 12-degree drop from today's 81 to Tuesday's 69 for a high. You'll notice it. It's not going to be a full-on like Arctic freeze warning kind of thing, but you're going to notice it. Okay. All right. So 2 minutes to the Today Show cut in. So we're tracking showers, we're tracking storms. All right. All right. Let me run. To be continued. Be the sunshine in someone else's day. Thank you for hanging out for Coffee Talk. I'll see you on TV in a couple of minutes. And then again, we're back live at 9 a.m. for WESH 2 News Sunrise. All right. Sound good? Take care. Bye.